So my name's Cody, and this is my in the bag video. Hurrah! Putters. You'll find I like a lot of latitude stuff. This is my putter that I'm currently using the most. It's my Strawberry Edition Zero Plastic Mercy. I like the grip. It has a little bit of almost a bead, but it's not too big. Just a little extra lip there. Like the feel of it in my hand. It's really secure. Just deep enough. It's not nearly as deep as some other putters, but it still has quite a bit of stability, and it is amazingly tacky, which is awesome in the winter when your hands are so cold and slick and the disc will it doesn't slide out. In the summer when things are a little bit warmer, or on those warm days when this is just a little too tacky, I pull out my Eze Mercy. Same feel, it's a little bit more domey, but very similar flight, and it's that perfect grip when it's warm. It's not too tacky, not sticky at all, but still enough that you're going to be able to get on it. My driving putters are these two right here, Opto Pure. Nice, wonderful, fast for a putter, very straight, very controllable. I'll use this on straight throws out to maybe 250. And also on anhyzer routes. I don't use it so much with hyzers just because it don't get along in that case. That's where this JOKERi comes in. I think it's a max weight premium JOKERi. Probably not our first one. Maybe it was. Anyway, it's what I use for that. Just throw it out straight, throw it out hard, let it come back around. Pretty much the opposite of the Pure in terms of what I use it for. It's for all my hyzer shots from about 250 in. It's quite awesome. I like it quite a bit. It's very similar to the Pure in grip. It's just very rounded, not much of a bead. I don't like a bead when I'm driving. I like the feel of it when I'm putting though, go figure. So yeah, there's my putters. On to mid-ranges, my overstable mid, which really isn't all that overstable as my Vector. Like that. It's just deep. It's about at the limit of what I like the deepness for my mid-ranges, which as you can probably guess is not all that deep, being a Vector. This one, it's not nearly as stable as the initial first runs, so you throw it out really straight with that nice predictable fade at the end. If you really get on it, you can get a little bit of turn, but by that point I'll probably have already dissed up to at least a fairway driver. It's fun, and it's a glow, so I can use it at night. Hooray. Understable. So let's go my Goldline Fuse. It's one of my favorite discs, stand back, miniature science. It's, try is the operative word there. But this is the one I use. It has that little bit of initial turn when I'm just first throwing it, and it comes up and just holds whatever angle it comes out to, which usually is just maybe 10 degrees different. So if I want that very continuous but gentle going to the right, I'll throw it flat and just it'll turn over and hold that to the ground. Use it up to about 300. If I crank on it and try to get the angle right, I can get out to maybe 330, 350. Usually don't push it out that far just because it gets a little bit uncontrollable at that point. Then I also have this Opto Fuse, which is very, very similar to the Goldline, you can probably guess, except it will turn through the whole flight, compared to the Goldline, which you just turn for that very first initial. Both of these are extremely, extremely glidey. You're just surprised that they're still in the air as they're hanging there. So as I said, it turns through the full flight. It's not a very fast turn, but it's just continuous and very dependable. It's one of my favorites when you just have to release that shot and just let it. The turn has to. It's almost. I don't throw forehand very much, so it's what I use for shorter shots. Instead of throwing forehand, I'll pull this out backhand and let it mimic that same shape. My last mid-range that I have in here is, what do you know, another Fuse. It's the test run material. It is extremely understable. Imagine this flight and then speed up the speed that it turns quite a bit, maybe by double, and it makes it really, really hard for me to get this out past 280 maybe, and that's pushing it. just because at that point I'm releasing on this sort of hyzer and it's coming out and rolling. Or if I get it clear into the air, it'll glide out, but it has its shot. It's not the most frequently used disc in my bag. Going up to fairway drivers, I have a River. This is a Opto River, as you can see the word Opto right there. It is a very flat one that has a little dimple on there. Most people don't like these, and it's not my favorite either, but it is extremely understable. It doesn't have nearly as much glide as the typical River does, but I use it when it's very similar case as this, except when I want to go a little bit further out. It's going to turn from the moment it leaves my hands until it practically turns into a roller. Okay, the next fairway is also a River. It's a Domi Opto River. I believe it's near max weight. I don't actually have the weight on here, but it'll have a little bit of turn in there. It's not nearly as extreme as the other one. A little bit of fade is noticeable too. One of my straighter drivers, just that tiny bit of turn and then just a titch of fade as it goes out. When I'm trying, I can put it out to maybe 350, maybe just a little bit past that. If I put it on a distance line, I can just kiss 400. Not the best thing to throw in the wind. You can probably guess, you've heard some things about Rivers. They start to turn a little bit more and get a little finicky, especially with that glide. It affects them quite a bit. So this one wouldn't be much good in the wind either. Another River. This is the Goldline. My findings with these have been pretty much opposite of what I've heard on the internet. This is more overstable than the previous Opto River. It's a 174 gram. I don't get much turn out of this at all, but just that little bit of fade. I don't get it quite out as far as my Opto one, but it's very controllable. I like it when I have just that little tight fairways that I have to shoot through and a little bit of fade at the end. I don't know, Goldline River, very, very glidey, kind of like the Fuses. Let's see, I also have a Saint in here. It doesn't get as much use as it should. It's kind of in between my distance drivers and my Rivers. I still like the flight of it. It's just I'm usually more comfortable with either my Flow or my River. It's kind of a test spot in here right now. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. Goldline, it's 174. Really good glide, a little bit of turn, a little bit of fade. Hooray. Overstable fairway, I have grand total of 1 in here right now. It's my Goldline XXX. It is about as light of weight as one I could find. I think it was somewhere at 164 grams. It's been beaten a little bit. It really doesn't have enormous fade compared to like a Firebird, but it still has that very dependable fade. Kind of like a step up from what you'd expect from a first one Vector. It's that the speed level's up. Not nearly as overstable as other XXXs are, but I have a couple spares of these, so I'm not too worried about replacements. Yeah, so toss it out, let it just slowly, or not too slowly, but just come back in and fade. And it also doesn't turn in the wind at all that I've found. It may not fade as hard, but what can you expect? Distance drivers. Alright, so my kind of stable control, not afraid to rip it into the wind distance driver is my Goldline Villain. Again, the weight's been taken off. I kind of had a bad habit of doing that and forgetting. I think it was right around 170, 171. Very glidey, typical of Latitude, but it's just, I don't actually throw Destroyer as much. A few I've thrown I have liked, but similar but not quite the same. It's not what I'd use to get all out distance, although if I torque it over, throw it in a flex shot, allow it to come out, I can get 400, 420. Again, in the summer when I actually have footholds. Right now it's kind of snow and ice on the tee pads and I'm scared to go all out at it. My favorite distance driver is this wonderful Star Boss here. This one has seen a lot of tree impacts, concrete impacts, just about everything. It's had a rough life. That being said, it flies better now than ever before. Just not like a Boss. It's closer to a Katana, but I like the grip of the Boss, so it works out. doesn't have enormous glide, but it just gets there quickly and then sits down. Even at my power, I mean, definitely less than 500 feet. When I'm throwing on a distance line, I can get out to maybe 460, 470. About my best ever is about 470, 480. Consistently about, I can get out 450. Yeah, so just throw it out there, get the right angle, lets it glide out and climb back in. Just standard helix shot. Probably noticed this is white, and favorite discs, 2 feet of snow. I'm a little hesitant to throw a nice beautiful white disc. So recently I've been trying out this Havoc in its place just during the winter. It is similar. I can't quite get the same distance on it, but I like the way it flies. It's that same, just put it on a slight hyzer, let it come around, flip out, and fade. Yeah, even with the icy and cold T-pads, not having issues getting it past 350. Usually about 400 is my good rip there. Isn't that Goldline plastic pretty? The wonderful color shift and lava shift, whatever you want to call it. Last disc in my bag right here is a Goldline Flow. As you see, it's my disc and an Acenator. It's a wonderful thing. But I love the flight of it. It's more understable than the Havoc or the Boss right now, just because this is a flatter one. I usually keep a domey one in my bag as well that's kind of in between the Villain and the Havoc in terms of stability. Lost it into the swamp just a couple weeks ago. Not too happy about that, but oh well. I'll have to get a new one eventually. As soon as I don't need new drivers as much during the winter. But yeah, it's probably one of my favorite discs. It flies really well. It's not so good into a headwind, but that wonderful hyzer flip, it's noticeably more understable than the Havoc, as I already said, but it glides really well. Kind of the equivalent of the River stepped up, like this River, except, you know, a couple stages faster, and on you go. Really easy to get distance on it, and yeah, so I guess you can see my actual bag. It's a PDGA, just turning bag, I guess they call it, my little mini marker, a Northern Utah Disc Golf Association. Yeah, not much else to say. In the bag, hurrah.